Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my crew. I forgot to go live. That maybe explains why no one's here. Let's do that. And by go live, I mean send a notification. Sorry I missed yesterday. Sometimes the work meetings don't respect my schedule. Kind of lucky I can find such a big chunk of time in the middle of the day to stream. The simple go live notification here. Publish that. And that should be it. All right. I did a bunch of stuff over the weekend. So I'm pretty happy with what we got going on here. Check my settings real quick. Cool. Oh, the music's still going. Pretzel like fixed their service or something. I don't know. We've now got 43 hours of chill music. 23 hours of lo-fi. 38 hours of calming cinematics. Got a ton of music again. I don't know if they're like license lapsed and they've re-signed a bunch of licenses, or like if their app was just broken. I'm leaning towards the latter, even though it was broken for like 6 months or 4 months or something like that. I don't know if I'm going to go back to playing music the whole stream, even though we have access to all this music now. I'm like kind of on the fence about it. I think I'll pause the music here. I'd like to monitor the music, and right now I'm not wearing headphones, so that's kind of hard. So we're just going to pause that now that we're at the end of a song. Scott Hopkins, yo. How's it going? Welcome to a new week here. I say on a Wednesday. But yeah, like I was saying before, I did a bunch of stuff since our Saturday stream, which was really awesome. Our Saturday stream was great. It was the episode just before this. It was episode 140. We spent the first half just talking about like our inspirations and like the way we're being kind of pulled in two directions between like the promise that we make of like an FTL-like game versus the presentation that we have of like an almost Into the Breach style game, just because of our approach so far to art and framing and all of that stuff. I think we're going to move away from this over time. And I think it was having an unfair, or it was overly influencing us. And then we went through this whole thing, which was great, where we kind of listed out all the features we could think of for like a pausable real-time game versus a turn-based tactics game. Kind of what would be easier, what would be harder. I think we're heading back into the direction of doing a pausable real-time game, which I think would be good and in line with kind of our entity component system and kind of the expectations that people have around faster than light anyway. So I think we're heading back in this direction. Although there are definitely some nice things about a turn-based tactics game. I've been playing a bunch of them recently, and I feel like I'm learning or remembering that I like don't like his tactics games. Oops. Oh well, at the end of the stream, someone gave us kind of the seed of an idea about how to change our visibility system, and let me show it to you because it's awesome. Like, like I've been working on it over the weekend, so now, oops, I should go into exclusive full screen. Just make this as pretty as possible. We can do some awesome stuff now. So check this out. So like, let's make the top deck. Here's the top deck. Bam. Make a second deck. Bam. Make a third one. Let's just keep going down. And then I'll show off some of the tricks of this that are like, make it really cool. So already it's an improvement in that we can see into 3 different layers at a time, pretty much. What's cool, you can continue to interact with the other layers when you've thrown them off. So I could keep placing stuff here. I'm a little concerned about the readability as far as like realizing that it goes this floor, then this floor, then this floor. But I think the animation, the way it so cleanly slides off like that, I think it makes it pretty intuitive what's happening. What I really need to test is how this looks if the build area is much larger than this diamond. Like, what if the build area is basically the whole screen? Or like double this area or something like that. And the layers then overlap even when you like slide them off. So I think I need a little bit of additional guides. Like maybe I want like a tool that like as you mouse around here or here, it kind of shows you where that position is here. Like it gives you like a little dotted line down or something like that so that you can tell where you are. And there's one other feature that I re-implemented and I'm going to show it off now. So we're going to make some walls just so we can tell what's going on here. I'm going to make some sort of asymmetrical walls here so we can see what we've got. Put some doors in here, I guess. Keep adding just a few more. Just some stuff so that it's illustrative of what's going on. Okay, now check this out. We're rotating. And we're rotating the whole thing. We're rotating all 3 layers. So if you're like, if you've got a layer up here and you're like, oh, I want to see in this building, you could bring the layer back down and look at it, or you could also just turn it around. So I don't know. I kind of liked what we had before, which I can't recreate right now, but it was kind of like a tunnel vision thing where you like dug into the ship and you could see stuff going on, but you really couldn't see more than one layer at a time. Whereas I feel like this is an improvement. I feel like this is intuitive. I don't know. And also, it's also really responsive. Like it's kind of wild how quick and responsive it is. So I don't know. I'm very pleased with this. The rotation works so that like the cursor stays even when everything else is moving around it. I think is important, obviously. So we've added a lot back. We've added a lot of features like the rotation. Excuse me, that was available before. We've added some new stuff like this visibility thing. I'm generally very pleased with this. I think we're in a good spot. So we'll see. We'll see how this works once we've got stuff moving around. I do want to test it with, I want to unlock this build restriction, which are these white lines. This is like as far as you can build out. I want to like double this and see what this looks like. So maybe that's what we'll work on, because that's pretty easy. I kind of need this to be a short stream today. So we're not going to go super long. Probably going to be like a 2-hour stream instead of the usual like 3 hours, 3+ hours. Unfortunately, but we'll be back to a regular schedule tomorrow, hopefully. How's everyone doing? How's the weekend? How's life? So if I wanted to widen the maximum, so there's one thing that I feel like is wrong right now, which is a formula I'm using for the rotation. Because when you do a rotation, you gotta like rotate about some point. as like an origin. And right now, the origin is like a whole number because not a whole, it's like an integer because the it shouldn't be. So like our AABB that we're currently using, like the bounding area that we're using is 15 by 15. So it starts at 0 and ends at 14. And so, Scott, you're good. You finally finished Tears of the Kingdom. Nice, nice. Bit of whatever they call it, Totke. That's cool. I haven't been playing much. I've pretty much just been playing Helldivers with some friends and trying out some different turn-based tactics games. I just bought Tactical Breach Wizards, which I really want to try, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So this feels wrong. This center that we're calculating the center as the maximum minus the minimum divided by 2. Like, and it should be the same calculation as size. It should be the maximum minus the minimum plus 1. But this is giving the correct behavior, whereas if I add 1, some weird shit happens. If I add 1 here, now if I throw this down and I rotate it, watch, it's like offsetting itself. It's like violating the bounds, which is super weird because you'd figure that the midpoint should be 7.5, 7.5 if we're on a 15 by 15 AABB, but that's giving us the wrong behavior. Whereas if I get rid of this and I just make it 7, we're also just truncating the results of the rotation. That might be important. But I tried it with what do you call it? With rounding and stuff, and that didn't do anything, so I don't know. So now if we rotate, now it happens, it's done correctly. So very weird, very weird. Some integer stuff going on there. It's very strange. But so I want to test it. I want to test it on a 16 by 16 grid and see what happens. And if there's a disagreement, we're going to have to figure that out. So what do we need to change to make the game grid 16 by 16? I think technically all we have to do is change one number, which is how it should be. I think I just need to change this to be 15 by 15. It would be interesting to change the minimum to a number other than 0 and see what that does, but I don't want to open that box right now. All right, so that didn't do anything. I can't build more. So there's another restriction somewhere else. So this is just, I don't even know where we're using this. I feel like we've got this number defined separately somewhere. Yeah, we do. It's probably in the test system. So in the test system, we use utility.maxBuildBounds. What we want to do is we want to use game.board. Okay, now we can build out to here. And now if we rotate, that seems to be working. Huh. Yeah, so I don't totally understand. I have a formula that's definitely wrong, that I'm like virtually certain is wrong, that's giving us correct behavior. So that's kind of fun. Kind of weird, but kind of fun. So let's just keep going because I want to test this. I want to test this with like a 32 by 32 grid, which I think is like probably realistically the maximum that we are going to be able to do. Although if it's a 32 by 32 grid, then its maximum would actually be 31. And we'll keep it with 5 for now. We might need like a camera that goes up and down if we end up having more vertical Z layers than that. I'm gonna hide the moving levels for now because they're gonna be wrong. And I probably need to move some stuff up. So now we should be able to like lay this out. Yeah. All right. I'm curious to see how this looks with this. So like yeah, so this is what I'm wondering about. So this isn't moving far enough away, obviously. So it does depend on the size of the area. This is probably going to be dynamic to a certain extent. Like we're probably going to need to figure out what the used area is. So if we go back to our typical number here. Yeah, there's a cleanliness to this that I really like. Um so maybe I don't know, this just feels small. Like I just wonder like how much I can do with this cuz obviously we can't use all of this. We'd use like a subset of this, so we'd maybe like use like I don't know, start carving pieces away. So maybe a ship would be like something like this. There's a bit of a cross Z index placement happening. So I don't know. Like maybe like I feel like this isn't unreasonable to have as like the usable area on the ship, something like this. In case we need to match this to an extent. Something like this. Maybe I mean in fact this is probably quite a lot of area. Something like this. Because an FTL ship is like 16 by something by 10 or something like that. Like it's much smaller than our 15 by 15 areas here. Like a whole FTL ship would basically be this area. But their walls don't take up space. So our walls take up a full tile. So like here I could fit like what, maybe like a room here. Maybe split this into 2 rooms. Maybe the rooms are too big, but I don't know. Like this just doesn't feel particularly interesting to me, confining. And obviously we can do some stacking so we could have like another floor. But I feel like this is too small. Like maybe for a starter ship, you could have like 3 or 4 decks and you could have like 4 or 5 rooms and you could make it nice and cozy like a Firefly ship or something like that, like the Serenity or something like that. And that would be fine, like a crew of like 4 or 5 people on like a ship that's just like half a dozen rooms or something like that. But I feel like we're going to want bigger. And not only are we going to want bigger, is we're going to want more room for like aesthetic stuff. Like a bird of prey is like mostly wings, right? So you need to be able to build these wings out that aren't like a usable part of the ship, but it's like aesthetic. You'd want to be able to do that. I forgot that I can just. Yeah, I need some kind of outlining to help me. I have a little bit of a help because I can tell when I'm building under another floor or not, but I need something else to help me a little bit. I guess the selection system will help because I'll be able to just select an area. Like if I wanted to widen this, do something like this. Oh man, I am gonna get used to the rotation. I'm telling you. Rotation is nice. We'll be able to just start carving out spaces like this. We go up here, we fill in the roof, seal it off, blend like this. Trying to make as many mistakes. There isn't really room for hallways and like lifts and things like that. Like all the nice things that I'd want on a bigger ship. But it is nice that we can just keep interacting. So maybe we need something a little more dynamic than this. Like this is static. And for this, it's really clean for like this size. I mean, maybe we just start with this. Maybe this is like enough for the first. I just want to do this in such a way that we can expand it and it will work. So maybe if you have a Scott, you wonder if thinner walls makes it a bit roomier. Oh, it certainly would. There's a reason we have walls take up the whole space, take up a whole tile. There's a lot of reasons why we have walls take up a whole tile. Like it helps with the flood fill algorithm because you just know if there's a wall there, it like completely seals off an area. It helps provide a sense of substance to it. Like if I didn't have this here, like this T-junction would need to be this whole custom thing. Like I need to know that there's a T-junction. So it's just easier to have the walls be a whole thing. But yeah, it would certainly be, for this purpose, it would be simpler to not do that. So I don't know. Maybe this is essentially enough space. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna if we stick to this, we're gonna end up with like kind of a Borg, like just everything is gonna be kind of boxy. And there won't be a lot of room for aesthetic stuff unless we like really don't make use of the space. Like I shouldn't build this out this far. I should carve a lot of this away. Like carve like this away. This away. Just trying to visualize some of this. So we'll carve back in a few tiles here. This is the first time I've really been able to kind of just play with this space in a while since the last version of the tile editor. It's kind of nice. I like being able to be like, oh, what's going on over in this room? And what's going on related to this room? I do like this. Maybe it needs to be responsive to the cursor. So like maybe if I mouse over, if my mouse starts going over this way, this top layer starts getting pushed away. Oh, that's going to be hard to do. Because the whole point is to still be able to interact with the top layer. Maybe there will be another element of this that would make it more clear what's happening. Like maybe we're going to need to introduce camera movement. And as you move the camera, then these stop, because we really can't have these move based on the cursor, because the cursor needs to be able to like mouse over to them if I'm going to have them be usable at all. If I'm not going to have them be usable at all, then they might as well just disappear when we make the layer go away, which is an option. I really kind of like this though. Feels slick. Yeah, I don't know how much we can fit in here. Like we got a couple of rooms up here, one of which is probably the bridge. We probably fit 3 or 4 rooms down here. They'd be small, but we could fit them. like this. I just feel like what's going to make this interesting is just these larger ships. But it's also going to be confusing, which is why we have this navigation problem. So I don't know. We're going to need to try some different stuff. But I do feel like this is too claustrophobic. Unless I just make rooms really small. Like there's like in FTL, rooms are often 2x2s or 2x3s. But for this aesthetically, I'm like making these large rooms. And that's because I want like interesting things to be in here. I'm going to want like machines to be in here. Like a piece of an engine or like a weapon station or like furniture. Like I don't want to do the Dwarf Fortress thing of like, here's your bedroom. It's a 2x2 tile. There's a bed, a door, an empty space, and like a chest or something like that. Hey, Fusionist. It's going good. We're trying some different visibility stuff to like make navigating this space easier. And we're thinking about some different things. I kind of like this version, but it has some problems in that the ship is limited to this size, and I feel like this is just too small. So I'm thinking about how to adjust this to make it handle a bigger space. And I think it means these layers need to be more dynamic. They need to move away from you if you like move the camera or something like that. Like if you're panning around a bigger ship. I would love to have a bigger ship, mostly just so I can use negative space. So not everything needs to be these dense little refrigerators. I can use negative space. I can have like aesthetic things sticking out of the ship that takes up space, like wings. Or like big external things, like a big engine. Like a big cool external engine would be cool. Or like a deck cannon or something like that. I don't know. You assumed the ships could be like 100 by 100 tiles. At the moment, they're limited to 15 by 15 by 5. But yeah. The reason why I did this originally was I was trying to follow the like the kind of the thing both used by FTL and Into the Breach, which is like you can see all of the action at all times. So in like FTL, you can see everything going on. Same in like Into the Breach, you can see everything going on. But I feel like that's just not realistic for us. Or if we do it, it's going to be so limiting. We can't really do this. Because we talked about this a moment ago. FTL's ships are small, but the walls take up no space. So it's really easy to have these different rooms. Also, their rooms are tiny. Like the oxygen room is 2x2, and the engine room is 2 by, or the oxygen room is 2x1. The engine room is 2x2. And they have all these big empty rooms to facilitate movement. Like I feel like aesthetically, our game is not like that. Like we have, oh god, did I close it? I did close it, didn't I? Well, we lost whatever little thing we built out, but that's a thing I need to do. But yeah, limiting ourselves to this space is a problem. Hey, Theron Keen. Oh, I got camera rotation working again, by the way. It's good, Theron. We're wondering about how to adapt this new visibility system to work with like a larger ship. So we can just keep going here. Take up all the space. Just to make something to play with. So this is kind of the new hotness, and we can interact with the other layers that we shove off. Very different than our last cutaway system, but I kind of like it. How's your dev going? It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm wondering about navigation. It's responsive too, which is nice. It's like I juiced it up a lot. Like the layers go off and then they just become invisible as soon as another layer is shoved off underneath it. What I want to do is I want to try making each of these layers much bigger. Maybe not Fusionists 100 by 100, but I'm thinking maybe like 32 by 32, like just double this area. That's probably enough space to work with. We might even go bigger eventually, but I want to try that at least. But we need to come up with something like some way of adapting this with the camera so that like you can still use some of this stuff. Like maybe you use the camera to move around and then these layers move with the camera so that you can always see this area of like the layer that you're on, and then you can see some of the other layers. I don't know. Sorry if I'm yelling. My heater was going and I'm just couldn't hear myself. You and your kid decided to double up on your side project, the pixel art vampire survivalist clone, and just get it made. Then we can both focus on the real 3D game. Nice. Yeah, that's probably the best. It's definitely hard to like split your time and attention. But yeah, I'm also very pleased with our rotation. So I can just start rotating the camera around. And the cursor is stable and everything just rotates 90 degrees. I can go either way. Kind of underwhelming when I've made all of these shapes exactly the same, but the stability of the cursor is really nice and took a minute. It's just a view into the underlying data. Like, but yeah, I don't think I can do the thing that FTL does. I don't think I can have a room that's just like, this is 2 by 3. And like, let's put a door here. Like, this feels terrible to me. Having a room that's like maybe there will be some rooms that are 2 by 3. Like maybe you want some rooms that are 2 by 3. But I don't think we can do that FTL stuff. I think our rooms are going to be bigger. This is probably the smallest room I can imagine on the ship. Like the bridge is not going to be 2 by 3. The bridge is going to be like something like this size or something like that. Like enough where you can have a couple of chairs and some screens. I don't know, maybe a guardrail somewhere. Like, I don't know, whatever you do on a bridge. Looks really smooth. Honestly, nice work. Yeah, I have this problem where I juice stuff up when I should be working on more substantial things. I like to add the juice early and often to make things feel like smooth and slick. I think the fact that I'm showing this off on live stream probably helps. It kind of justifies the juice a little bit, but yeah, what are we gonna do for like larger stuff? I think we're gonna test a larger map, like a 32 by 32 or something like that, or even a 64 by 64. That's truly probably the biggest I could imagine we ever use. A ship of that size is going to cause us other problems, but like flood filling a 64 by 64 by like 8 volume was like would be a lot. But I think we can expand far past what is basically 16 by 16 here. Let's do that. And then maybe we get a camera. Maybe we actually implement the camera and we move around so we can move around on one layer and the other 2 layers kind of follow. Maybe that's, and then they slide back into place. I think keeping the slide this height is super crucial. I think having it be this trajectory where it just slides off is super important. I'm a little concerned it's going to get confusing as far as what's where. But I'm hoping that people will use this enough and they'll be familiar enough with their ship that after a minute they'll realize that like, oh, this room is actually above like this room, or I don't know, whatever. Like this room is above this room. Because like There's going to be camera rotations. There's going to be height differences up and down. I'm basically just mostly concerned about making this map unintelligible. Like making it so confusing to navigate around your ship that you have no idea where anything is, what anyone's doing. That's like my real concern with this. But I feel like this is just too small. This area is just I can't limit myself to this area. So we need to find a solution. Matthew Sparks, how's it going? Hey, good. Hey, it's good, Matthew. We're trying out some new. We're as you probably remember, we're doing an FTL-like in 3D, like an isometric FTL-like in 3D. So we've started stacking decks in this like this tile editor tool, and we've got like a nice visibility system that I was showing off that you probably saw a little bit of, but we can just go down these layers really easily. And we can still interact with the other layers that are on top. So we can just kind of go through these three-dimensional objects. But I think we need to do some stuff. I had a different system that would just go through the layers as you mouse down. So as you mouse down, it would just start. So you could mouse into the lower levels. And I realized that was cool, but it wasn't going to work if we make these areas much bigger. We also added camera rotation recently. So yeah, rotate everything. How are you doing? Been a minute. Last time I was here, you were wrapping up the ECS. What's been up? Yeah, the ECS is working. That's what's powering that whole system. Theron Keen, so you're going to be able to move between blocks of these 5 stacks, or will the entire ship be within this single block? I'm thinking the entire ship will be in this single block. Probably if we add a camera that can move, we'll probably unlock it to maybe like 8 or something. Like maybe we have like 8 decks and the camera maybe moves up and down to maintain the 3 that you can see in the center. Maybe we do something like that. Hey, Ryson, how's it going? In case you didn't notice, we chucked our old visibility system and we're trying this new one out. The old one was cool, but it felt a little too much like tunnel vision. Like I could see into one layer at a time, and it was kind of cool. And honestly, we might go back to it if this doesn't work out. If it ends up being too confusing to like just slice off these layers and send them to the side, we might go back to that tunnel vision thing. But I think it's better to be able to see 3 layers at once instead of seeing 1. I think if you can see 3 layers at the same time, or like most of 3 layers, and it's open like that, and you can see a lot of the one layer you're working on, like, yeah, it looks pretty slick. Slick is pretty much all it is, because I worked really hard on that part, making it slick. I'm just worried about readability. So let's test this out. Let's make the board. Let's make the game board like huge. So we'll need to do a couple of things to make that possible. So unfortunately, I've kind of tied everything to be a certain size. So like this is offset by like this, by like minus 60. And that's for a 15 by 15. If it was 16 by 16, it would be minus 64. So let's make it 32 by 32 and make it minus 128. Just to start, let's start with the 32 by 32. That actually might not be the right. That might actually be the distance for a 64 by 64. Let's just go ham. Let's make it full screen. Let's test. Let's go too big and then maybe dial it back. See if we run into performance issues with the auto tiler at that size. Kind of curious about that. Because I've disabled the flood fill system because it's already too slow at that size. So have this system of like scene inheritance. It's kind of not as convenient as I thought it would be because some tiles seem to like just automatically take on whatever the scene they inherit from their stats, and then some of them I need to go in and like update them to bring them back in line with what their parents doing. Kind of weird. Kind of weird that I need to do that. Kind of defeats some of the purpose to me. So what we want to do is we want to grab these. What are you made out of? What are you made out of? So we want to redraw this as a bigger thing. So is this a 32 by 32? Okay, let's go here. Because we need the topmost corner to be 0, 0. Too big, let's go. Yeah, I think you should... If that's one of those... I don't remember who said it, but it's probably like Will Wright or something. Was like, if you're choosing numbers in a game early on, just double it. Or cut it in half. Like, don't mess around with like small changes until later. Like, maybe you get there at some point and you see that it's like you need a small change eventually, but like early on, just make it huge. Just go big. All right, so this is 32 by 32. This seems enormous, so let's start here. I don't think we could support a 64 by 64. And if we did, I would be tempted to go vertical with it. I'd be tempted to make it more of like a space station. Which there are parts of my brain that are like, why are we still talking about a ship? Like, why isn't this game like Babylon 5? Why isn't this game Deep Space Nine? Like, why are we talking about ships? Why aren't we talking about space stations? Like, it would certainly excuse some of the aesthetic I've got going. Some of the boxier design that we're kind of leaning towards. If this was a space station instead of a ship. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm like super tempted to head in that direction. But I say we do this first, and then who knows? Maybe maybe the sequel is about space stations, or maybe there's an expansion that's like now you can control a space station. Maybe we save that for later, right? I don't know. We need to get it playing and get stuff happening before we can make a decision like that. Okay, so this is a 32 by 32 grid. Absolutely enormous. That is huge. That takes up most of the screen. So we're definitely going to need like camera motion stuff. I don't know where to put my UI. Guess I'll put you back in the top right. Probably the best place for it. I think that's going to be a challenge for us if we do something like this, is like, where does the UI go now? So these positions override, right? So you need to be minus 128. You need to be minus 64. No, you need to be 96. How are you doing? How are you doing, Matthew? I know you're a YouTuber. I've seen some of your stuff. All right, so all of these need to. The fact that I need to manually reset these to their scene they instantiate from, they inherit from, even though they aren't like. I don't know how to do that. To guarantee that they revert to whatever the scene they inherit from is. Maybe there's a button for that somewhere. Good. Tired. Work's been busy. You just had a barbecue for lunch. Ooh, you're about to fall into a coma. Yeah. Love that. Love that barbecue coma. I'm ready for a bit of coma later. I like stayed up too late working on this stuff, and I have some like fettuccine alfredo left over, and like that's also some like anything with enough cheese and dairy. I'm like ready to eat all that after work today and just like lie flat. All right, so all of this is going to be broken. What can I do to minimize how broken this is going to be? So this should be 31. 31. Let's not add any more Z layers right now. But I feel like we will increase the limit there. Maybe we will get to 64 by 64 someday. At least as far as like a limit. The problem with this is that these are being stored densely. For a lot of reasons, we're storing ship data densely, and like I guess we can trim it. We can make it big on edit mode, and then when you're done building, we can trim it down to size. That's not gonna work if you have like if you have some aesthetic piece that juts out diagonally. That's gonna be like really inefficient. Maybe we need to switch to more of a. I might need to start storing block data differently. I might need to start storing it like the way we store tilemap data, like as a position and some data and some tile data. Like not a dictionary, but it's not a dictionary. Matthew, you're building a CLI for internal tools you made for a new platform we're moving to. Well, you're supposed to be. You're watching me stream instead. Today is a loss, and you've accepted that. I mean, it's a Wednesday. Wednesday is tough. Wednesday, you're as far away from the weekend as you're ever going to be, and it feels bad, man. All right, so I mean, just thinking about storage here, I know storage doesn't really matter that much, but let's just say 16 by 16 by 4, which is about what we had. That's not a lot. That's just, and you know, I don't know, how much data are we storing with that? Probably like, let's just say, I mean, we're not storing that much. Right now, we're only storing, a few bytes, but let's say like 8 bytes. Decent. Well, let's stick with 1024. Let's not worry about how many bytes we're storing per block. So we've got 1,000 blocks in a 16 by 16 by 4 area. So like, that's manageable. Even if we just make it 32 by 32 by 4, quadrupled it. 64 by 64 by 4. Quadrupled the quadruple. Like, I know this is still relatively small memory, but like, what if we stored like 64 bytes per block? Like, we shouldn't, but what if we did? A lot. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a megabyte, which is not a lot. So I don't know. I just want to be mindful of that if I'm going to continue to store blocks densely. I want to be mindful. It probably doesn't matter. Matthew, you're staring into the abyss of Wednesday, and it's definitely staring back into you. Yeah. That is how that works. All right, what else? I need to adjust a few other numbers to make this work. Maybe not, though. Maybe just this number. I want to check one other thing because we have. Okay, nobody's referencing this. That's good. This is probably where we eventually want to store the max build bounds. Right now we have a construction object that's storing it for us. All right, so there is a disagreement between a couple of things here. I think I moved something too far up. Guess I probably moved this too far. It looks like it's dead in the middle. So why are you confused? Grid layer. Grid level. Grid levels. Oh, that's weird. So this is like that. It's like dit, 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 dit. I went too far here somehow. Oh, unless I just haven't updated this. No, this is correct. This is 32 by 32. I like 32 by 32 because it means you're likely in the camera somewhere to see like the edge of your ship. Like it's unlikely that you're only going to see the interior of your ship when you're mousing around. Like you'll see the exterior walls in like corners. Well, I think I like this. It is kind of a little silly to be moving the camera around when the camera can only move like 0.5 in each direction, really. Then it's kind of like, why have a camera? But also, it's kind of like you'll probably never get lost. So, seems good. Maybe we save 64 by 64 for the space station. Let's test on this. This is double. Like I said, you double or you cut in half. So we're going to double and we're going to test that. Feel like I put something wrong here though. Oh, you need to be... I think I did. I think I see what I did wrong. I forgot which of these was like offset and which of these are like at the origin. Because the tile maps themselves have a funny little offset, but their levels, the layers have an offset, but the levels don't. As confusing as that is. So that should match up now. Okay, it does. So here's one problem though, is now when I go down, it just like covers everything up. So we need to go farther. But then you're basically just shoving stuff off the screen. And at that point, maybe they just disappear. Maybe you can't see more than one layer at a time. Because that was so slick, but like also maybe it's not super usable here. Like now I can't like build under here really. Might be too much to see more than that. It is like, I know, that's the problem, is it feels good. This is why you're not supposed to juice early. Is it feels good, but it is bad. Probably. I mean, my only thinking is that we have it set a little further back, and then we have it move with the camera as the camera moves around. We haven't implemented camera movement yet, so that's going to be a bit, but Then it would then maybe you can see it kind of around the edge. I don't know. Let's try it. Let's try some stuff. So right now the offset is here. Target is, let's say 512 and 128. Let's just double it. Let's double everything. Now it'll get more out of your way. But now you basically can't use it. Now it basically might as well not be there at all. Which is honestly maybe for the best. Maybe it should just fade out as it's going away. Maybe we call this pause. And we can have a mod target here. Can you move it far enough back with the offset so you have access to the whole level still? Like that, but yeah, that pushes it too far. I know, that's the struggle. But, you know, maybe it's too 3D chess to ask people to like interact. You know, some people probably would never even notice that you could interact with a different level. So I'm going to try something where we just fade it out. This is like a kill your babies moment. So where do we do the modulating elsewhere? Do we do it here? Yeah, we do. Okay, so let's not. We're just going to grab. So we're just going to say, oh, not the grid levels. I want the whole level modulation. Stop doing that for a minute. And we're just going to set mod to be the float. And it's either going to be 0 if I is less than level index, else it's 1. And we're just going to tween the property. We're going to say tween property. So now we're going to move it at the same time as we fade it out. See how that feels? I mean, that's kind of cool, the way it kind of comes back in. I don't love that it just fades out. It should be sliding away as it fades out. It's not doing that. Shuffle between layers. Oh, these need to run in parallel. How do you do that again? Parallel. I mean, I see you saying the word parallel, but I would love an example. Ah, okay. Maybe we make the mod one parallel to the position one so that it's like easier to read. I mean, actually, maybe we don't want it to be parallel. Well, we do. Then we slice it off while it's, we fade it away while we're sliding it off. I mean, maybe this is better. Why are they all going to the left? They're supposed to alternate. I mean, I don't mind having a camera in this game. I actually needed something for the other joystick to do. We have one joystick that'll be the cursor, and it would be nice to have the other joystick do something. All right, so why are they all... I feel like our tunnel vision cutaway system was like really slick, but I also feel like it was too claustrophobic, so this will probably be better. Why aren't y'all alternating though? I like didn't change this part. For eye and range, if eye is less than level, yeah, but whatever. I like didn't change this part. So why is it behaving differently? I mean, I changed the name of this. I mean, I know this part works. And yet I'm still testing it. I don't have an error. I really enjoyed the the way it would go off left and then right and then left and then right. I really enjoyed that. True, false, true, false, true, true, false, true, true, false, true. Yeah, that's like, that's it. Are we not in the center anymore or something? So like both coordinates are off to the left? No, that doesn't make sense. What if I flip this? Will y'all go to the right? I mean, it's not the end of the world that they're all going in one direction. I just don't understand why. Ah, that is why. They're both to the left. Is that why? No, because we're using local position. At least I think we're using local position. Local position is here. That's correct. Your local position is also here. This is like a dumb thing to get bogged down on, but we also should just write this code a little differently. What if I undo these changes? Does it still work? Yeah, so it alternates here. Somehow something I did made that not true anymore. Does just the fact of doing this? No, okay. Somehow I changed something, and we'll never know what it was. Oh, I know what it was. I'm an idiot. Testing to see if I am in fact an idiot. It's an important thing to verify. Trust, but verify. I trust that I'm an idiot, but I will verify. I think I plugged in position into the tween when I needed to put in offset. And the next one should go off to the left. And then they come back. Okay, I mean, that's still juicy. You're just like slicing layers off. It doesn't have the same fun, like, oh, you could interact with the layers that got sliced off. Like, I actually need to make sure that that's not still true. Because you can't see them, but like, could I place a block and I bring it back? Yeah, I placed the block while the thing was invisible over on the side. I mean, the nice benefit of this system is this will work even if this diamond gets even bigger. Like, it'll work or even if like a layer covers the whole screen. Whereas the old system only works for a small scale. I don't want to presume small scale. This gives me so much to work with. Oh Lord. There's a bit of a delay there. Oh, but only when there's a ton of tiles. Am I running up against like a performance limit for tile drawing? Can't be. No. There's something about the tiling system. Oh, it's because I see. I know what's going on there. I mean, what I should do is get rid of these guides. Guides are kind of weird looking. You've completed your doctorate in idiocy self-verification. Highly recommended. Yeah, I offer certificates. I self-certify that I'm a fool. All right, I like that. Still do things like rotations really easy. I think it'll be less confusing because I think when you could see 3 layers and you could see them all rotate at the same time, that was kind of dizzying. Kind of hard to even just watch one layer rotate because of the perspective. Like, I know that these are all identical, but like, my brain disagrees with me because of the perspective. So what should we do next? Probably like camera. I do need to. Okay, we got time. Need to be careful about the time. But we'll keep going for probably another 30 minutes or so. So this is an interesting bug. When I've like completely filled in this layer with blocks, it slows way down. And then once I've emptied it, it's back to being normal. So I see why that's happening. And I think I have an idea on how to fix that. I mean, this is more space than I could ever possibly need. And I think that's exactly what I need. Because now we could start putting in like turbo shaft, turbo lifts and stuff, like, and like long corridors and like big rooms. Like, I want to take a moment to like run across the length of a ship. I might go back to like a more of a circular cutaway system, because right now our cutaway system is like incredibly uh it eliminates, it cuts things away with like extreme prejudice. Like it just runs along the whole length of this and then just starts slicing. If you intercept that wall, it cuts the whole wall down. So at this scale, that might be too much. That might be too much cutaway. I mean, it's kind of nice that you could just go back like this and be like, I want to see my whole ship without any bullshit. So I mean, maybe that's nice. Maybe that's something we could even make as a setting. That you could do the Sims thing of like, I don't want to see any of these walls. Or maybe I want half walls or something like that. Like, we could do some stuff. Make it easier to see what's going on. Because this is a lot. I mean, this is obviously bigger than you would make a ship, but this is so you can handle stuff on the side. Like if you have like a bird of prey or something that's like winged. Something like that. All right, so camera. We have a camera. We don't use it. We don't use it for anything. But it looks like we have to. So the input handler. We have shift, which is go up or down. We have twist, which is turn. And we have zoom. I might change these to be like lift, turn, and zoom or something like that. But I like shift and twist. I think shift is not clear what it means, but so let's add another one, which is like the camera controls. Where am I going to put these on the keyboard? I'm like, I have a plan for the joysticks. The joystick stuff is easy, but like, where is it on the keyboard? But right now, we're already using WASD for, I guess for twisting, we can use E and Q. So E and Q can be the turn. So instead of A, we would say Q. Instead of D, we would say E. That frees that. For up, down. Or we could continue to use WASD and just have a modifier like shift. I feel like Q and E is like fairly readable for people as like a turn button. For like go side to side. Not side to side, but like like turn around something like orbit or whatever. I think that's fine. I guess orbit is maybe what I could call it. Instead of shift. Shift is a little confusing, but orbit. Or I know, I guess it's twist. I like twist. Although twist is confusing because twist presumes that the axis you're turning about is like yourself. That's like a twist. Maybe it should be called orbit. And this could be called level up and level down instead of shift up and shift down. I kind of like that. We'd call this level down. Could be level up. This could be orbit. Orbit left. Orbit right. Zoom, we can keep zoom. So instead of SW, what do we want for levels up and down? I kind of don't hate the idea of using a modifier. Make it be like WASD, but with the shift. Because I also have level up and down tied to the mouse wheel. It's actually really easy to go up and down. I was worried that maybe shift S would be too much. So we'll say shift plus S. Shift plus W. Okay, then these, I'm going to have these be shift. I'm going to go back and call this shift A. I know these are physical key codes right now, and like I'll change that, but I need this stuff to be rebindable anyway, more than anything else. Okay, now we can make our new actions, which is like pan left, pan right, pan down, pan up. The left is A, right is D, down is S, up is W. All right, now we just need a camera controller. I could do this. I could do an is action just pressed, but that's like terrible for camera movement. Camera movement doesn't need to, we don't do in queue anything in the game for camera movement. Unlike we need to do with shifts and, oh, we also do need to rename these. I'm going to do that later. I'll rename them here. What do we call this? Level down, level up, orbit left, orbit right. Orbit, I like orbit because it implies that you're like going around something. All right, sanity check. Did I break anything? I seemingly, oh no, I just got rid of I already got rid of the outlines. Maybe I like the outlines. Maybe I've changed my mind. I like the outlines. Right. I actually think doing it this way, especially if you have the camera like pan up and down, not every time because that would be disorienting, but like maybe, I don't know, we'll actually have to figure out how we want to do that. Maybe we do want to pan the camera up and down every time you shift a layer so that it's consistent as far as what you see. Because like this layer is too high. Like if I put a block back here, I mean, you wouldn't put a block back here, but if I did, it would be off screen. And then, you know, we start getting too low. And this is only 5 layers, which maybe we actually have fewer vertical layers if we're going to have so much horizontal space. Maybe one does not want to have so much verticality. Why? What happened to my juicy transition here? Are we lagging? It looks like we're lagging. But where are we lagging? Are we lagging in the tool system? Are we lagging on the tile system? I need to put the tile system on another thread and give it a few frames, do its work, because I guess we're reaching some kind of performance limit here of what I can do all on the main thread, you know? And this doesn't need to be, you know, this stuff's happening in less than a frame. It does not need to happen in less than a frame. We can give it a few frames. Nobody will notice. Huh. What happened to my juicy slice? Now we're back to normal. It's back. I think we are doing something stupid here, which I need to fix, which is like, we're shuffling every time. We really just need to shuffle 2 layers. We need to shuffle the current level index and the old level index. So what we should do is we should actually flip this. We should actually say, we should call the shuffling first and then change the level. So we're only doing this for 2 layers. We just need to do it on the layer that's going away and the layer that's coming back. Still needs work. Good morning. How's it going? Actually, it's not morning anymore, is it? Good afternoon. How are you doing? All right, so if we do it like this, I feel like we don't need to call that on ready. We need to do is we need to say, like new level. Where are we referencing level index? We can say new, we can say old level. Current level. You just say level index. We could pass in next level. That would be funny. View level. Call it next level. So if the view level is not our current level, great. We'll do this. And so what we're going to do is instead of looping, we'll just say, we also shouldn't be getting the mouse. I don't know why we're getting the mouse here. Are we using this for anything? I don't think so. Why was I even doing that? Doing pretty good, just working on classes. How are you doing? I'm good. We're working on like we're reimagining our visibility system again, our like system to cut away into the ship. I'll show it off. We've tried a bunch of different stuff. Some of the stuff we tried was really cool, but I feel like it's not going to be practical on larger maps. So we're experimenting with a larger map that takes up most of the screen, and we're gonna add camera movement and try some different things as far as like slicing off layers so you can see beneath what's going on. So instead, what we're gonna do is so we can say variable out is next level or is level index if so we're fading out if the level index is less than next level. Else next level. So like what would we be fading? No, so we're never fading. No, we might need to fade in the next level. Might yeah, we might. Okay. Same. Fade out. Fade. Bring in. I think this is right. We just specify what we want to fade out and what we want to bring in. Call this toss out. And so instead of this loop, we just go through and we do the same thing for both. So we say, oh, so we can just have one tween for each of these. That's pretty good. We can just make one tween and we can do both, huh? We could say level nodes, fade out. We can say their position. And their position is going to be level locals, fade out. Is outgoing shorter? It's not. It's like literally. I like outgoing and incoming though. This is the target. Queen property is we're gonna be modulating to 0 for the outgoing. Actually put the mod above. We're gonna tween that out, and we're gonna tween. I don't think there's a problem tweening out two different nodes using the same tween. I feel like that's not an issue. I don't want to flip these around. time here. This is all hard coded, but this should be fine. I should probably make this a variable. Comment that out, but not destroy it for the moment. We need it. In case I got this wrong, which is very possible. But we're not doing 8 tweens every single time. We're just doing one that covers 2 objects. Okay. I messed that up. That's we need the alternate. So we need alternate variable alternate. We need target. So target equals vector. So it's this if I don't want it to be this if outgoing is outgoing. The remainder of outgoing divided by 2 is 0. I want it to be that. Else I want it to be this. 5, 12. Yeah, we're gonna hard code this. We're gonna call this well, let's get these in order. EFG. Variable level offset. The vector 2. Actually, I can make this a constant, can't I? Constant. Offset. Give me 512 and negative 128. All right, so the target is actually going to be the offset. That's not equal, else it's going to be offset dot x offset dot y. The x offset. All right, what's that doing for us? Okay. Okay, they're leaving, but they're never coming back. Or they are. No, they're never coming back. Oops. Why are they never coming back? One of these needs to be like a less than or equal something. Incoming. Next level. So the next level is whatever is coming in here. View level. So the incoming one is the next level if the next level is less than the level index. That sounds right. Otherwise, the incoming one is the level index. That means that if they're equal, we don't call this. Did I mess up in here somewhere? Queen property incoming modulate A. Queen property incoming. outgoing, outgoing. This seems right. Oh, target. That doesn't fix the fact that the incoming one never comes in, but it fixes something else. So the next one should go the other way. It does. And if I want to bring them back, though, it does not occur. I'm going to print incoming and outgoing. Quick sanity check here. Whatever. So this goes out 0, 0, 0, 0. Why did that call twice? And print twice? Oh, because of these dudes. I want to delete this, but I can't. But what I can do is get rid of the script so that we don't have that happen. I don't think that breaks anything. It does. Oh, we just comment that code out. So you go down 0, 0. That makes no sense. 0, 0. Oh, I need to change something else for this to work. Just this static layers the whole time. Static layer, static layer, static layers, static layers, static layers, static layers. That is also going to break this to an extent, but in a way that I can deal with. Okay, so there I'm getting the same value for incoming and outgoing, and that seems wrong. That's probably the source of the problem. That seems like the source of a problem, if I had to guess. These are evaluating to the same exact thing. Interesting. I'm gonna print next level and level index. Make sure these are not the same because they're not supposed to be the same. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Okay, so that part's right. But my logic foo is very bad. So for an incoming one, we want to bring in the next level. We want to bring the new level back. So when we shift up or down to a new level, we want to bring it back in. If this new level, it should be if the new level is less than the old level. This is right. This should be right. I think what's happening is the outgoing is wrong. So the outgoing. Oh, this needs to be the same. This needs to be the same evaluation, right? Is that the problem? That's definitely the problem. Well, now we're not doing anything. That's fun. That's reverse. That's the reverse of what it should be. All right, I think we're in business. All right, now bring them back. Oh, oh. We brought 2 of them back. Is that fine? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't send 5 away because it's the bottom. Okay, so we brought this one back, then this one, then what? I mean, that's maybe correct. That's maybe on me. Send that away. Send that away. Send that away. Send that away. And then this one can't be sent away because it's the bottom. Bring one back. Bring one back. Bring another back. We're missing one. We're missing one, but it's like... But I don't know where it would be. It's a little weird. Oh, wait. What if... I need like a less than or equal thing here. Because what if the next level... No, wait. Like, what if we're coming back to 0? And our level was 1 and we're coming back to 0. That should work. That should just work. I don't know, man. Well... Or we're missing a level, which is awkward. Otherwise, this seems to be fine. I should turn the guides back on so I can actually see what the hell is happening. I turned them off because they were annoying, but I actually kind of like them. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now bring them back. Yeah, I'm not bringing the last one back. Vicious. There is an issue when the next level becomes 0. And why is that an issue? All right, we're gonna fix this bug, and then that's probably gonna be it for today. And we'll probably continue exploring this tomorrow. We'll probably get the camera controller set up. Probably start panning around, seeing if we can support a map of this size, or even one larger. We might need to speed up some of the task or some of the tile system stuff. Potentially put it in a task, like on a different thread, and let that just run until it's done, so that we give the tile system like a few frames to do its work, instead of requiring it to do everything within one frame on the main thread, which is asking a lot of it, especially once we start doing the flood fill. I really do need to consider the possibility that we might need a different data structure for storing the ship blocks. Right now, they're just in a dense... Actually, technically, they're kind of in a sparsely packed array. But the thing about it is, like, that's a lot of empty space to carry around. So, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. If we put it on another thread, maybe we don't care, and it's not much memory, and it's pretty cheap to churn through. It's not like we're going to have 1,000 ships. There will be, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 ships at most of the time, maybe like 5 or 6 max. Like totally max. And if that's like, if that means we have like tens of megabytes of ship data or processing, that's probably not a big deal in the scheme of things. Like it might feel like a lot. All right, what was I doing? Fixing things. So why is the zeroth index causing me problems? It's being set correctly in the output, I'm pretty sure. So we go, so old one is 1, then we go to 0. Like we're sending the correct index. There's some weird stuff happening, but like how do we get 4-3 twice? Would be my question. All right, one more experiment here. So down 1-0, that's what we expect because incoming is the first digit and outgoing is the second digit, and then it's printed twice because we're doing this on 2 different layers. So 2-1, 3-2, 4-3, then we're stopped at 4-3, and then the next one says 4-3 again when I go backwards, which is strange. Then it goes 3-2, 2-1, 1-0. Oh, it's getting desynchronized. So the first time we go back, it registers the same movement forward again. Oh, when we go back, that's when level index is the same as next level. So I either want to do it this way or I want to do the opposite. 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, 4-3, 4-3 again. 2, 2-1, 1-0. Okay, so it's not this one. Very strange. Is it because we aren't calling this? No, that doesn't make... Oh, it is because we aren't calling this when they are equal. No, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Because this is 4-3. Oh, and then we're trying to go back up. No, but we're setting it here to then be 4-4. We should be. We're not resetting it anywhere. Ah, okay, so that is a problem. So we need to just run this every time. And then here we could do a check of if incoming and outgoing are the same, then we can just break out. We can just be done. We can just early out. That's probably the safest way to do this. That does mean we probably need to add that greater than or less than or equals, or maybe greater than or equals. I'm not actually sure. So we're going down. Now we're coming back up. And we didn't do it again. Now we're off. Now we're desynchronized. Very strange going on here. So it's actually not a problem. Okay. Got a bit of a mystery. I need to get running. I need to get going. So I think we're going to leave this mystery for either tonight for myself to figure out or tomorrow. But tomorrow we're going to keep working on this. We're going to explore how to navigate around such a large build area how to store and retrieve data from such a large build area, and how to run the tile and fill systems efficiently in such a large build area. We're just leveling up because I feel like our last map size was just too small. It was too small for the long run, and we need systems that can handle larger areas and like end game ships that are going to be pretty big. And we're truly moving away from both of our parents here, FTL and Into the Breach. We're really moving away from these. These games are good. They're tight. You can see everything that's going on at once. And we're violating all of those rules. And we'll see if we're punished for that. We just need to be mindful of that and make the game forgiving in a certain sense, such that you have time to react to things that are happening around. I mean, it's pausable real time. So I guess you can pause, get your bearings, set up your stuff, resume. Okay, do that. All right, I'm gonna cue the music. As always, thanks everyone for watching today. Still Needs Work, Theron Keen, Fusionist, Matthew Sparks, Ryson, Scott Hopkins, all 6 of you in the chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. And the other lurkers in there too. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do a longer stream. We'll hopefully do a 3-hour stream for the rest of the week here. We'll do good regular streams. Sorry, I've been a little busy with work, so we've been cutting it short and having to cut days. But yeah. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.